Hello and welcome once again to wale Bhaiya. I'm Abhishek. Today, friends, I'm talking about a novel called Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kuang. And yeah, I have to admit at the very beginning that I'm actually quite late to the party. This book was released 2 years ago and it's already a million copy bestseller. But better late than never. I recently finished reading this book. I quite liked it and I thought I should share my views with you on Yellowface. So friends, as I said, yeah, it's a 2 year old book and already sold lot many copies. So this book is essentially about books and the publishing industry, you can say. The beauty of this book is that it contains, you can say, many genres in one. It feels like a drama, it feels like a thriller. At times it reads like a horror also. So the author Rebecca has been able to merge all of this thing into one novel and has built a very strong storyline which I really liked. So the storyline goes like this. So there is a Chinese origin author Athena Liu, who is a best-selling author in the United States. There is another author called Juniper Hayward who is not doing that great. Now these two are friends, not very great friends, but yeah, they know each other, they studied together, and being in the same profession, they know each other pretty well. And one day, just all of a sudden, what happens is that while they are together, Athena dies all of a sudden due to choking. Now, of course, Juniper is not responsible for this, but what she does is that she steals the script of one of the unpublished novels, which is actually authored by Athena, and no one actually knew that she was writing such a novel, and no one had actually read that script ever. So she thinks that it could be her movement, so she gets published, she makes some amendments to the novel, and she gets published under her name. And she arrives as a kind of star author, a best-selling author. She gains a lot of fame. She's invited to the forums to speak. Other authors approach him and say, if you can review our book, if you give us suggestion. She acquires a fame every author looks for. So at this point of time, what is shown is, first of all, how people behavior towards you change when you become successful, how people start giving you more importance, whether it's your publisher, it's your literary agent, or anyone. At that point of time, it also shows a dark side of the publishing industry. So I remember one of the things which stayed with me after I read this was that Juniper says in one of the lines that the publishing industry works like that is that the bestseller books are actually chosen. They are not written, they are chosen, and then they are marketed to ensure that they are the bestsellers. A lot of other things has been discussed, has been showcased about publishing industry, something which we who are not into that industry may not know how things work behind the scenes. And what you see on the front is actually different, many times a facade, and inside it's all greed, politics, everything. So she showcases this line of the publishing industry as well, this aspect. But now what happens that after her so-called fame and glory, things start turning upside down. She is accused of plagiarism, which means she has copied, and there are people who say that this is a copy of what Athena wrote, and this is not her original work. Now whatever fame was there, and largely due to social media, she starts seeing a lower follower count, people start abusing her, people saying a lot of things. So at this point of time, she has a challenge to fight this negative perception by doing something, by writing more books and ensuring that people do not think of her as a someone who has plagiarized someone else's work. So she writes more books, but there's no result, no positive result, because again the accusations are cast. So it is at this point of time that the novel takes a different turn. Firstly, she needs to figure out that who is the one who is, spreading these rumors, spreading these news, and how does anyone knows, for that matter, that it is not an original work. In fact, what happens that once or twice she sees Athena in front of her eyes. Now, mind you, Athena has already died, but she sees her in front of her eyes. So is this something supernatural? Is this horror? Is this something else? We don't know, and I want you to read the book to figure that out. But this is how the story proceeds. And as I said, it's many genres. So at one point of time, you feel like whether it's actually just a drama, it's just a normal fiction, or is it horror or thriller, or is it a mixture of all? So now what happens is she further writes another book, and she tries to come out of her negative image. She shows how people change, how relationships change, how the publisher's attitude towards her change in the light of the new evidences that come in. But this also shows her struggle, towards becoming a known writer, the challenges she faces. Eventually, at the end of the novel, you get to know who was behind that, whether Athena came back from the dead or was it something else. How did she perform as an author? How will that impact, her future? Everything you get to know at the end of the book. The best thing about the book which I liked is that the novel keeps you engaged till the end. So that is one positive part, because even though it doesn't looks like a thriller or a horror from the very beginning, you still feel very interested in, okay, this is what has happened so far, but what will actually happen? What will happen in the future? Where will this novel proceed? Where will the storyline go? So the writer definitely keeps you engaged throughout the book. The only two drawbacks, if I have to point out, one is that the ending was a bit disappointing, because she built very high hopes by her writing, and I was expecting a different kind of ending, but that somehow did not happen. The ending, I would say, was average. I surely believe the ending could have been better. Another is that I feel the protagonist Juniper is not described very well. So she is not someone you will love, or for that matter even hate. But I would say as a protagonist, she fails to make the mark. In fact, I would say I liked Athena's character somehow better, but that's my personal opinion. And that, all in all, that does not take away the fact that all in all, it's a very good attempt. Despite these two limitations, which I just pointed out, this is still a book I strongly recommend if you're looking for good fiction. I hope you liked the review. As I said, do read the novel. It's an interesting read. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you.